Well, it has been 13 months since voters in New York approved the constitutional amendment allowing for Vegas-style casinos in the Empire State. We're going to find out whether or not casinos will be heading to Catskills or the Hudson Valley and where exactly they'll be tomorrow. There are 9 proposals for casinos in the region. Each has its own distinct style and would offer different amenities. And they each come with their own strong economic arguments for choosing them. Now, the 3 proposals in southern Orange County, they offer the chance at the greatest revenue. Closest to the city, they'd likely make the most money and generate the greatest tax base. The 3 proposals in the Newburgh area, each offers the chance to help the city of Newburgh, and if you know Newburgh, they need it, economically struggling to lift after years of decline. And the city has fallen victim to a whole host of other issues as well. And the 3 proposed casinos in the Catskills, they could help that once glimmering tourist mecca regain some of that standing. That is, tourists and vacationers have abandoned the region for other options. Now, Andrew, he got exclusive access to 2 of the oldest and best known Catskill resorts to see what they once were and what they could possibly become again. Andrew, I'm curious what you saw there and also put in context what you expected to see.
Well, these have been closed for a long time, Rich. So Grossinger's and the Nevele were once among the toast of the Catskills and staples of New York summers and even winters. Each now has been closed for years, and what remains is frankly a mess. But if you look and listen closely enough, you can hear the whispers of their legacies, which became a part of so many New Yorkers' lives. And just maybe you can see the opportunity for their revivals. They were the getaways from the city in the 50s and 60s, known worldwide. New York's Catskills resorts, better known as the Borscht Belt. It was in its day a major tourist destination and added tens of millions of dollars to the region's economy every year. Legendary comics played here. A teenage Wilt Chamberlain practiced here. And in the summer, tens of thousands of New Yorkers left the sweltering city behind for mountain air, recreation, and adventure.
It meant everything. I mean, we were all about tourism. We were the tourism destination in New York State and the Northeast for generations. It
was a time and memory brought to a new generation through a now classic movie that was set here.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
The resort in Dirty Dancing was a composite stitched together from the memories of the more than 24 best-known Catskills resorts. Resorts that today are all gone.
It decimated our main streets. What you see here today is indicative of most of our main streets here in Sullivan.
Among the best-known resorts was Grossinger's, which closed in 1986. This is what remains of Grossinger's today. Unused for almost 30 years, I was given an exclusive look inside what remains and a look into the past. It looks like a disaster scene. The amazing thing is that almost 30 years after Grossinger's closed, there are still pieces of hotel everywhere, from the trays where the waiters used to place the lunch orders here in the luncheonette to the chairs that they used. I mean, it doesn't look anything like it used to, but this is still Grossinger's. There are so many reminders here of what Grossinger's once was. They are little peeks into the past. The bright red of the building where visitors would rent ice skates, the Art Deco lights of the indoor pool, even the beauty salon, now in need of some beautifying itself. Okay, this looks like brush or blush, and I don't know what this is, some sort of balm. These are hairpins. The box is labeled invisible hairpins. A little rusty, but looks like they would still be usable. Perhaps the most haunting remains of Grossinger's ghost, the once beautiful indoor pool. Enclosed in glass, covered by its majestic wood ceiling, it has survived, but not well. The pool, now covered in graffiti, leaks allowing the room to act as an unwelcome terrarium. It could stand as a symbol for today's Catskills. You know, looking at the indoor pool here at Grossinger's, it's a personal connection for me. My family stayed here in 1985. We were here for a family reunion. I swam in this pool. Obviously, it didn't look anything like it does now. Some of the room does, but the pool itself completely different. And it actually hurts a little bit to see the way that it's fallen into disrepair as the memories come flooding back of much happier days for Grossinger's.
You had this monstrous industry that went on for, again, generations. And what happened was air conditioning became accessible to everybody. You could throw an air conditioner in your window, so you didn't have to run away from the city to get away from the heat.
In the late 80s, new owners began to renovate, but the economy turned, and even this new Grossinger's never reopened.
This was the grand lobby at the main entrance during an attempt to refurbish Grossinger's in the late 1980s. This would have been what people saw when they first walked through the door to check in. Now, this part of the hotel never opened. The economy wouldn't allow for it. But a quick look around gives you an idea of what this space could have been and what it might be again someday.
The hotels that held on to the end never made the transition into the new tourism way of doing things, a spa, that kind of thing. But what I will tell you is back 50 years ago, the hoteliers really recognized that things were going to change, that things have changed, and that's why they started the quest for the casinos.
Grossinger's is not a potential casino site, but it is connected to the Concord casino bid. Developers say if the Concord becomes a casino, Grossinger's will be reborn and live again. And it's not the only Borscht Belt legend hoping for a second life.
Never leave, there's so much to do, or don't do a thing, people do that too. You can have it all, and it's up to you, at the Never Leave, at the Never Leave, at the Never Leave.
This is Today at the Nevele. Unseen since it closed in 2009, we also got an exclusive look around here. Its signature round high-rise now pocked with broken windows, and that ski lodge fireplace now looks like this.
Sitting here today, it's not difficult to see the future that the folks at the Nevele are hoping for. Out the window of the chalet, the ski slope as people would come skiing in. Behind me, a roaring winter fire, and the ice rink filled with skaters. And then off in the distance behind that, the casino and the hotel, bringing people back to this part of Ulster County and bringing tourism back to the Catskills.
The proposed resort would be the same size as the Nevele, the original Nevele, so you know the infrastructure can accommodate it. There's no environmental issues. You have the second thing is you have the natural backdrop of the Shangum Ridge.
The Nevele is also hoping for a rebirth and is one of the region's 9 proposed casino sites. Add a casino and developers say they can reopen the Nevele and help the nearby town of Ellenville thrive again for the first time in decades.
I think that you'll see a bustling community again with some support businesses, and again, I think that the hotel, the spa, or whatever you would like to call it, would employ a working class crowd that's going to spend their money here, and they're talking about a total of about 1,800 employees, and we have the housing stock for it, and the infrastructure's here. So I think it'll be a bustling community again.
And there is reason for hope in the Catskills. Many say the casino law was written with the Catskills in mind. And they point to Governor Cuomo, who said this just a few miles from both resorts the day after the casino ballot proposal passed.
We had the Concord, we had Kutcher's, we had the Nevele. We just need something to be an engine to turn that switch again. And it's casinos.
But the governor's words will not dictate where the 1 or 2 casinos for the Catskills and Hudson Valley region will go. This formula will. That 70% focus on economic activity could easily lead to 1 or both new casinos in Orange County, closer to New York City than the aging Catskills, and closer to all the people and tourists a more southerly casino could attract. And if even 1 casino is put there,
it wipes us out. I mean, how could we expect somebody to pass through Orange County and drive another 50 minutes to come here if there's one there? So, I mean, that makes no sense.
So, Andrew, tomorrow, remind everybody what they decide, how many and where.
Well, there's going to be 4 across the state. There will be 1 or 2 in the Catskills/Hudson Valley region. You went through the 9 proposals. 1 or 2 of those are likely, I mean, there'll be at least 1. So it'll be 1 or 2. The question is where, and you showed with the maps. The closer you get to New York City, the more money they'll make, but the more they'll likely siphon off the money that can be made in either the Catskills or near Newburgh. And so the question becomes, what's the motivation here? Is it is it just making as much money as possible, both for the casino and for the state, or is it about local redevelopment?
You both were talking during the pieces. This hit home for you guys, right? I mean, you guys went. The Catskills weren't just a dot on the map.
I have such fond memories of going to Kutcher's, the Nevele, the Concord. And I would be so excited to see the rebirth of that area and those hotels. And if gambling and casinos are going to be the thing that drive it, and I'm not so certain of that, but hopefully it would be, then I'm all for it. Let's do it.
As I said in the piece, I was there about 6 months before Grossinger's closed. I was there in 1985, so I missed the heyday of it. But the stories that I've heard, the comics who were there, Henny Youngman and Alan King and Woody Allen played up there. I mean, it was a force to be reckoned with. And when you go through the region today, it's nothing like what it used to be.
It's sad, the boarded up buildings and everything. And it's going to be interesting, right? You know, some of these communities really need something. I don't know if this is it, but they need something up there.
Well, I think it's a gamble, and I don't mean that as a pun.
Yes.
Whether this thing actually does what it says it's supposed to do, and there's no question that communities need economic development. I'm not sure this is it.
When we come back, we're going to talk some politics. Jeb Bush says he's actively exploring a run for the White House. I'll let you translate what that means. What this could mean here, not just for the Republican Party, but also we'll ask who's going to give Hillary the hardest run for her money as well. Be right back after that with this